York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And a government shutdown Wednesday morning to you. I'm Gary Sutton, and welcome to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK, live from Brooks Robinson Plaza here at Wellspan Park in downtown York, where it is the 1st of October, 2025. It was 60 degrees this morning when I last looked outside. Mark McKenzie here with you this morning as well on the Gary Sutton Show, and looking forward to a good day with you. And where we actually get things done and talk about that in real life America. We're not in the Congress. So anyway, this show is brought to you by Barley Snyder, attorneys at law. Innovative legal solutions for your business. They are a law firm for today's business world. Check them out at barley.com. I am Gary Sutton, and we're met this morning by the fact that our government has shut down. They, once again, showing the inability to agree on putting together not a budget, but a continuing resolution to fund the government. And it's always amazing to me to hear both sides constantly when these things happen say, oh, we got to pay our bills, unless we're on the other side. And then we don't, okay? The hypocrisy is breathtaking of our political system right now. And, I have a question for you this morning that I put up. Is it time to have more than two parties in this country that are viable, that are really doing anything? I mean, I don't know if it's just a simple question this morning, something to think about. And you can text me the answer to that question as well at 833-478-4729, or you can put it up at Gary Sutton Show on Facebook. Yeah, George Washington reminded us about that in his farewell address back in all the 1790s, what he said about, political parties, they could be the undoing of us. And I'm not too sure that's not exactly where we're at right now, that they could be the undoing. Maybe it's time to look around. I know people say, well, I'm an independent or I'm this party, but none of them are viable. We have the system kind of set up and pretty much rigged to the point of that's all we get. That's all we have to vote for. Okay, we had Eugene on yesterday. He said, I'm really pushing for independent voters to be able to vote, for example, in a primary election. And so, a little annoyed this morning that our government can't figure this out. Meanwhile, in our state government, we can't get a budget. Okay, in our federal government, we can't get a continuing resolution. Anybody see any problems? I mean, I'm just saying. So anyway, great to have you in this morning. We are looking forward to a great show today. We're going to have Michael Gear on this morning from the Pennsylvania Family Institute. But we've got our national days today are a little weird. National Homemade Cookie Day and World Vegetarian Day. Now, I have nothing against vegetarians, or except when they lecture you. I never like to get lectured. It's a much healthier way of doing that. Shut up, okay? Please, just shut it down. I don't need to hear that any more than I would be lecturing somebody on eating beef or meat or seafood or whatever it is. Just shut it down. Okay, you're not the healthiest people in the world, and just put it away, okay? National Homemade Cookie Day, which doesn't seem like it ought to be on the same day with World Vegetarian Day, although I guess world vegetarians can eat cookies. I guess that's okay, unless they're made out of animal fat or something like that. So
we used to have vegetarian meals every once in a while.
I don't mind a vegetarian meal now.
It wasn't planned.
Sure.
I mean, we're going to have a vegetarian meal.
Look at us.
Yes.
Dig me. Yeah.
This actually kind of helpful, although instead of using pasta, use green beans. So green beans with tomato sauce. Or with the Italian gravy.
Right.
So try that. I think you'll find that especially if you have a lot of green beans, it's a good way to.
You know what I've used in place of that? And I think the green beans is a nice idea, by the way. I like that idea.
It looks colorful.
And I've had it before with that on, and I really liked it. Spaghetti squash.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Spaghetti squash, get the look of the spaghetti, but it's very, very, very healthy for you. And, we've used that. I started working out yesterday. I'm doing workouts 3 days a week now, and then off days I'm doing other stuff. You'll be proud of me because you're the workout king. I mean, you've been
what prompted this?
I want to get rid of some of the flat on my arms and my stomach and my legs, and I want to hit the golf ball further, which will surprise you. That's one of the lurking reasons behind it. But I'd like to do that. And then I got to working out yesterday. I said, and I want to do this and this and this and this. And I have a trainer, Cody, who's my trainer, and he's a guy I've known for a number of years. But so he has me doing these different exercises. And I thought, well, this isn't that hard.
How'd it go?
It went well. It didn't seem that hard to me until I played golf afterward. And last night I came walking in the house feeling like I was, oh my goodness. I took a hot shower and I put it on every part of my body that I could humanly get to get loosened up. And today, but you know what? I get up today and I felt great. I felt like I had a bounce in my step, no soreness to speak of. So, and I'm doing the same thing again today. I'm going over there again today. I never wear T-shirts, and I have a T-shirt on again today. I'm going to do my workout. So I'm kind of excited about it. And then I find myself watching what I'm eating much more carefully, and I'm trying to get stronger for next year. So next year's golf season. So anyway, what other national days do we have going on?
Well, I mean, you kind of glossed over the most important one, homemade cookies day.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to give it short shrift.
While I don't make them. It's not Mark-made cookies.
Right.
It's his homemade cookies.
You do consume a few now.
Somebody else has to make them.
Right.
And I am there to eat them.
To help.
That's right. Best cookie, chocolate chip. There's no doubt.
I wouldn't disagree with you at all.
Oh, okay.
No, I totally am there.
Snickerdoodle.
Snickerdoodle might be second.
Oatmeal raisin.
I can go with that also.
Yeah, there's a number of cookies. I would have a hard time turning ginger snaps. No. Not even really should be a cookie. Terrible.
What is that? Who was in a bad mood that day?
They must have had like leftover ginger.
I know.
And let's just dump it in.
Throw it here in something.
Anyway, other days today.
Yes.
International Day of Older Persons.
We like that. Okay.
International Music Day.
Well, that's every day here.
It is. We're actually going to celebrate someone who had, she still does, a life in music, and one of her signature artistic efforts has the Sound of Music in it.
Well, there's a little hint.
National Hair Day.
Well, not celebrating that as much as I used to. I'm celebrating about half.
And National Walk Your Dog Day.
Okay.
And today's going to be a beautiful day to do that. I don't know if you noticed a little nip in the air.
I was out yesterday playing golf. I know that'll surprise you. And I had to put a jacket on for a little while. It was about 12 o'clock, and I just for a little while I put my jacket on, but then I took it off. It was a nice fall afternoon. And today is going to be even a little bit more fall afternoon.
Yes, 71 today, 73, I think, tomorrow and Friday. But it's going to warm up for the weekend.
But we're moving gracefully into fall. We're not. It's not like a shock thing where
not yet. Remember the year it snowed in like October?
Oh, I know. It's like October 30th or something like that. We had that snowstorm.
Yeah, want that.
No, don't need that. Not necessary.
Also, today, just to warn you, this is the third day, I guess, in the last week where. I had totally planned to do music bumpers. There are just so many things that are, I think, worth noting. So we're going to be playing news clips and other things, and even notable music.
Sometimes it just overwhelms you.
I'm going to tell you, one or two, that's fine. But there are just so many today that you will remember.
Yep.
I think you will remember.
Yeah.
And we also have the biggest. You left the other headline out.
Go ahead.
For York. I mean, the shutdown. You got to go. You got to leave with
York
that.
Revolution.
Yes.
Are up 2-1 as a result of a 5-2 win last night in High Point. In fact, they could wrap it up tonight. They could, and we're rooting for that. And
got some great highlights coming up in just a couple of minutes.
So that's our big story this morning here, amidst all the other silliness that's going on around the country and around our world. But York, things are really important. Okay. Anyway, so we got that going for us. Let's see. We've got Jeffrey Coleman in today at 7:05. As we tend to talk about. And we'll talk about hypocrisy in politics. Jeff used to be a representative in Harrisburg. And I'm going to get his thoughts about, lawmaking. How do you be a good lawmaker? We're watching a lot of examples right now where that's not being done by a whole group of people in PA and also in Washington. And so we'll talk about that this morning. Tim Barker joins us. We've been asking the question, Mark, about is there a common strand on violence in the country? And Tim's going to take that on today, but in kind of a general sense, not with specific cases here. But, I think we're looking for a common strand. And this is going to sound really weird. While I don't think there's a common strand, every case is obviously different. People are looking at, what's leading to that? It seems like there's more of that now. And then you ask the question, is there more of that, or is it just because of the nature of our media now publicized more and we get to see it more instantly? I don't know. We're going to get into some of that today. A little bit of a complex kind of question for Tim Barker this morning. We've got John from Yanni's. We're planning on talking to him today. We have Ryan Fox on the state of the economy. People aren't feeling really good about the economy right now. Yeah, a little bit iffy on a lot of the things going on, from the tariffs to other things. And are we really seeing the benefits yet of all that? Steve Shetter will join us today. Latest stories on pests. Yeah, not the ones live next door to you, but the ones in your house. Yeah, we're going to talk about pests today. And Julie Wheeler has got a lot to say this morning on a host of different topics. And she'll be with us. She's the president commissioner of York County. So when I say we're loaded to the gills today, ladies and gentlemen, it is not an understatement. And we're looking forward to bringing it all to you right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOIK. We take a break. We'll be right back right after this.
Pitch. He swings and drives one to deep left field. It is gone!
one. J.D. goes yard, and the Revs have struck first here in Game 3. It is 1-0 here in the second inning. Swing and a high drive deep down the line in right field. Is it fair or foul? It's a fair ball. It's out of here. Shane Fontana, a tape measure 2-run home run. And that Revs dugout erupts. It is 3-0 York here in the fourth. 2-0. Swinging a bouncing ball to first base. Kyle Martin's got it. Takes it to the bag. And Mike Kickham has worked 6 scoreless innings of 2-hit ball here in Game 3. It's a 1-2-3 bottom of the 6th. Swing and a line drive right center field. It's a base hit. And it's going up the alley. All the way to the wall in right center. Williams around third. Relay from Bird. He slides in. And Jalen Miller provides the insurance. An RBI double to the gap in right center, and the Revs lead it 5-2 here in the 9th. Here's the wind. Here's the payoff. Strike 3 called. He got him looking. Fastball inside corner. Game over. 5 down, 1 to go. The Revs take Game 3 on the road here in High Point. It's a 5-2 win here tonight.
And that was Darrell Henry last night down in High Point, North Carolina, where the Revs took a 2-1 lead in the best-of-5 championship series for the Atlantic League Championship. The defending champions looking pretty good last night. Again, got a 4-0 lead, and great pitching there by Mike Kickham, as you heard. He went out after 6 innings. And then they got a couple runs at High Point, but York had built a 4-0 lead. Then it was 4-1. And eventually, 5-2 was the final score. And, it's going to be interesting tonight. 7 o'clock is the game tonight. It'll be on at 6:40 with Darrell, the pregame. But an outstanding job last night. Jalen Davis with another home run in the playoffs, Mark. He is a guy that's hit a couple timely ones so far, and he started them off last night. And then the other guy that's been Mr. Steady, Shane Fontana, the left-hander who came in early in the season, has just been dynamite for the Revs all year long. Hit a 2-run homer in the 4th inning last night in front of a crowd of about 2,284 at Truist Park down in High Point, which doesn't sound like a lot of people to me.
Right, not compared to York.
No, I was listening on the radio last night, and it sounded sparse compared to what we're kind of used to here in York. So a little spoiled.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
These late season acquisitions.
Yes.
And I'm assuming it's not just the Revs.
No, everybody does. It's a regular thing around the league.
Right. Yeah. So they're picking up these players. So exactly how does that work? Is it just like highest bidder, or
you know people? You know people who are in different places who have been dropped by other teams, or sometimes aren't even playing, and they pick these people up, and they've had a history. Most of the time, you think about this: you have all these players on your team, and they all have networks of people that they know in baseball. And Rick Forney maybe is the best at going out. He's coached a lot of people over the years, the best at going out and finding people who are these diamonds in the rough. And I don't know how he does it, but he's really, really good at it. And that's what happens. And so a lot of the guys, I mean, if you look at the Revs roster this year, how much has changed, I think they're close to, I'm not even going to say a number because it's probably going to be wrong, but they've used a ton of players this year. I think there were only 6 guys on the roster who started the season.
No kidding.
With the Revs. I'm not. I won't swear to that. But
it's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
Right.
And it's like Jalen Miller started the season with the Revs. He's been there the whole time. Whaler has been there the whole time. You got a few people who have been there the whole time, and I can't think of a whole lot more other than that were there right from the very beginning this year. So it changes over the course of the year, and by the end of the year, you might look at the name and say, "This isn't the team I saw on opening day." But,
well, it's not a traditional, because at the end of the season, a lot of major league teams, they're bringing people up, for the playoffs or to give them a little bit of major league experience for next year.
Yep.
So that's how the system works for Major League,
Right.
but this isn't that. So I often wonder, well, I don't really have anything to compare it to. So
it's kind of an entity unto its own. It's very volatile in terms of how people like you get people that retire during the season.
Oh, really?
And walk out. Yeah, I'm serious. It's
we had that one guy. Oh no, he got hurt.
We had a couple guys. Simonite who just got his hand broken. We've got Tostado. Remember him? He was on the way to setting a new record for doubles. He's gone.
Wow.
I mean, he's not even there anymore. They got this guy, Kyle Martin, in there who was MVP during the last playoff series. So it's just incredible to watch it. So when you're watching your team, you might have different players from month to month. In some cases, even week to week. Well, and that's one of the things that makes York kind of special is they've got a really good coaching staff who seem to be able to get guys into a system that works. And as I said, Rick Forney, one of the few full year-round managers, and he really does a super job of organizing and knowing where he's going to go to get players. And he's a big guy on fitting people into the situation, not just great players. And again, because a lot of things have changed over the years, the Mexican League, for example, has gotten bigger. They pay more. You've got other places like the Major Leagues hides players sometimes in some of these places.
What about, these guys that, maybe they going to give it one more shot or,
I think there's less of that now because of the things that I mentioned there in the beginning that the Major League has a longer roster, unofficial roster, where they have people hidden off in other teams. And the Mexican League and other leagues, too, that are competing. And I think because of that, a lot of the people used to say, one more season in the sun. Not so much. So you may have a couple, but that's not.
What would be the lure to come to York? If you're going to, put up with the negative parts of,
Well, I think if you're young, you still have this idea that, I can still play. And I have a passion for the game. And when you come to York, when you come to this stadium, for example, you walk out here, the suites, the fans, we average over 3,000 a game. And someone said, we only get 3,000 a game. I said, name someplace else in York today that 3,000 people are gathering. I said, you'll be hard-pressed to do that. But the one night we had 6,600 people out for a playoff game. This is a community that really embraces this particular entertainment. And the stadium here is fantastic. I mean, it really is a great stadium. I've been in the suites down in Camden Yards. These suites up here, they're equal. I mean, and the whole idea of the way they merchandise this constantly, and it's out there constantly,
Promotions.
I think it gives you something to latch on to. And it's just a great entertainment. So I think when you come here, and what's interesting is people have come here, it's kind of like Baltimore in a way. A lot of the players stayed there. We talk every week to...
oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just... So
Tony, was it Tony? No.
Corey Thurman.
That's it.
We talked to Corey Thurman. Corey Thurman came from Texas. He stayed here. He pitched here for 8 years. You get some other people that I know that used to play here who are still around here, living here in the area. And there's something about this area that they like. So that speaks well for us. We're really proud of that. And, one of the reasons we call ourselves the Main Street of York, this is a place that we're kind of proud to be at as well. So
thank you for filling in some of those holes because, I've watched more baseball this year than I have the last 30 years. But granted, most of it is Phillies. Watched a little bit of the Yankees and Red Sox last night. And I still don't, I got to check the score on that. But there's things that I'm familiar with, but it's a different ball game, literally, here in York. And I wondered how it all kind of worked. So I got to imagine that Coach Forney, rewarded with a full-time job. The team has really benefited from him staying in the offseason and him fostering those relationships and contacts because it really pays off. It's hard to imagine that in the dead of winter, there could be something happening that would benefit the team come championship time.
He has his eyes on those things all the time, and he's very good at it. By the way, last night's scores also in the majors. The Tigers beat the Guardians 2-1, which is amazing. The Guardians, who were 10.5 down late in the season, came back and won that division, of course, over the Tigers, who had the best record in baseball for a while. And then they come back last night The Tigers do and win 2-1. Let's see. The Cubs beat the Padres in the playoffs last night. The Red Sox beat the Yankees 3-1 in that one, and the Dodgers clubbed the Reds 10-5. So, yeah, it's
those are. Is that the best of three? That's what that is?
Yeah, let's see.
Wild card? Is that
it's the wild card division and the best of three. And then
that's a lot of games for wild card.
Yeah, well, I guess. So that's what happened last night. Okay. So anyway, that Scooble guy for Detroit, who's such a good pitcher.
Yes.
He won last night. So there you go. And I'm just looking around at some of that. But there you go. So that's what's going on in sports.
Interesting.
By the way, I do want to mention to you very quickly about Harvey's Rent-All. Yeah, the most to rent under one roof. And I'm telling you what, if you don't have it, Harvey's probably does. If you need it and you don't have it, Harvey's probably does. It can help you out. You can give them a call today at 717-850-8999. They're open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, Saturdays 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and they're located down there at 1409 South George Street. Now, Harvey's Rent-All is going to help you for your party needs, for your garden and yard needs. If you're a contractor and you need stuff for a job you're doing, they've got it right there. If you need air tools, they've got that as well. They got things like log splitters and chippers. They've got slicers and seeders that are self-propelled. They got tents out the yin-yang. They've got steel elite equipment for all of your outside needs. I mean, they're an authorized independent steel sales and service center for over 40 years. So you can stop in and visit them for all your steel power equipment needs. They've got everything that you need to get the job done. Even right now, they've got like front loaders, okay? Yeah, or the Boss Workmaster, which is a rental item that they have there right now. Again, if you don't have it and you need it, chances are Harvey's may have it. Jen Harvey and all the good people down there are waiting for you today. They're at 1409 South George Street in New York. You can find them at harveysrental.com. You can give them a call at 717-850-8999. And please tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you to Harvey's. Mike Gear, just around the corner from the Pennsylvania Family Institute. He's up next on WOYK. It is 6:30.
sound of music, with songs they have sung for 1,000 years.
Julie Andrews, one of the great voices of all time.
No doubt.
And this song, this musical was beautiful. It really was.
She, in the 60s, I don't know if anybody had like a career like she had.
Oh.
I mean, she was in Disney movies and these kind of movies. She was
Mary Poppins and all those
other
kind
movies where she didn't sing at all.
Right.
I mean, she was on Broadway.
Didn't she marry a producer also? She was married to a producer.
Yes, Blake Edwards.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And he was a famous director.
He was.
So it's Julie Andrews, 90 years old today.
Wow.
90.
Yep.
Some other famous birthdays.
By the way, I saw a picture of her the other day. She does not even look like Julie Andrews anymore. She's had a little work.
Yeah.
But she's still a beautiful lady. I mean, and I don't think she sings like this anymore, but she was really good.
Who does? But
thank you. Whoever did.
A couple other birthdays of note. Randy Quaid. He's the crazy brother of Dennis
my gosh,
Quaid.
Yeah.
Remember Randy Quaid? He was he was in that.
He was a cousin
yes.
in the Vacation.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't you fall in love with that now, Clark. I'm going to take it with us when we leave here next month.
Yeah. And Rod Carew, Hall of Famer, 80 years old.
He was a great hitter for Minnesota over the years.
Yes.
So, yeah. Interesting stuff there this morning. Mm-hmm. You're right. There's a lot of interesting information out there.
More to come.
Good. And Mark McKenzie here with you this morning on the Gary Sutton Show. And we bring in Michael Gear, president of the Pennsylvania Family Institute. And Michael, good morning. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. When you're there talking about Julie Andrews, reminded me of my 2.5-year-old granddaughter, Lily, who loves watching The Sound of Music. And just the other day, my daughter, her mom, said that she asked Lily, she said, Lily, what's your name? And she said, Lily. And she said, how old are you? And she said, 16 going on 17.
I am. Well, I'll tell you an interesting story, Michael. When I was a child, a small one, we lived in Gibsonburg, Ohio. And I was born in Ohio. My parents invited some friends in one night. And this is before The Sound of Music was even made. There actually was a group called the Von Trapp Family Singers that had more than just the Von Trapps in it, who toured America. And my parents were friends with a couple people who were in that group. And they actually came to our home, and they were talking about touring America and the story of the Von Trapps and the whole thing. But and of course, at the time, I didn't know anything about that. And that movie had not even been made yet. And then later on, you got the whole story about who the Von Trapps actually were. So it's based on a true story, and it's pretty cool. Anyway, let me ask you a question this morning. What are you seeing as the aftermath right now of the whole Charlie Kirk death? I'm hearing different things from people, but people are saying, well, turning point, there are people starting groups like that on college campuses that hadn't before. There's a new rebirth of spiritualism here in the country and all that. I haven't seen all that yet. I read different reports, but I wonder if you had any sense of that right now, the people you're talking to, the things you're reading.
Yeah, that's a good question, and one that I've been sort of paying attention to because, having gone through September 11th, 2001, and the way the nation came together at that point, and then the sort of way it dissipated over time, I just wondered about the Charlie Kirk effect in a variety of different ways about, is it going to last, the positives, and then what about the negatives, the things that it exposed about our society, about the desire of people to meet words with violence. So I had a little bit of a discussion at my office about this the other day as well. So I guess, first of all, I'll just talk about what I've witnessed individually, personally, just at my own church. The last 3 Sundays, I guess it's been now since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Right. Much larger people, a much larger number of people attending. The parking lot is packed. They've asked people, the pastor leaders of the church have asked people who arrive early to serve and play on the worship team or do other things to kind of park on the grass to make sure there's room for other people. So there is evidence, and other, Selena Zito's pretty famous writer, newspaper, and book author, has written about churches that are seeing significant increases in people coming, and you see it on social media. I saw the Turning Point USA radio show producer produced the Charlie Kirk show. He posted something online of just people who had posted about how they were either getting Bibles or going to church or whatever, that he put this long video together of people who just spontaneously were saying these things and posting them on the internet. So I think there is a spiritual impact because, number one, when someone as young as Charlie is suddenly their life is taken from them, that's a wake-up call to everybody about their own mortality. And people start thinking, well, what could happen to me? I could be in a car accident. That could happen to me if just the nature of society or the crime wave that seems to be hitting some cities and other places. So that mortality then gets people to ask sort of eternal questions. Is there a God? Where am I going after I die? Am I going anywhere? What happens after you die? And so those questions are driving people. There's also those who look at it and say, oh, well, all of the memorial service and the stuff that was around it and that Turning Point USA, they're just all after to use a tragedy or a crisis to advance their cause and to grift. They're just people who are jaundiced about everything. The support or the confidence that they have in institutions is dissipated to the point where everything is viewed with a level of suspicion, and they even look at that and say, well, all of these things, people are just using it to advance their particular point of view. And then there are those, sadly, in our society that continue to say that violence is the answer, and there are posters being put up. My friend who runs our sister organization in Virginia sent around a picture of a poster that was nailed on utility poles in Richmond, Virginia, calling on people to engage in violence to basically shut down the fascism. I and many of my colleagues in states around the country are getting gobs of letters from this one particular person that none of them contain explicit threats but are increasingly threatening, and they're sending, we're getting them to my office, to staff members at their homes. In Virginia, they're getting them to board members and businesses that support them and all of those sorts of things, suggesting that that there are people who want to threaten or silence those who hold to a different point of view.
It's amazing. And again, we're seeing the good and the bad. I mean, we're seeing a lot of people who I think are taking it the right way. And then a lot of people, we've seen more shootings during that time, more public shootings that are happening. And I think we as a nation, and we're going to talk more about that this morning too with some other people, but as a nation, we look for a common strand. And the only common strand that people can look at sometimes for this kind of violence is they'll say, well, social media. We either glorify that or we condemn that on social media, and yet it's out there immediately. And people are asking, well, is it worse now than it was at another time because of the publicizing of that, so to speak? Or is it a loss of having any spiritual touchstone in our country to go to a religion, something greater than ourselves, a respect for something larger than ourselves? So people are hunting around for that as well. Do you have anything that you kind of go to on this, or is it we're all still searching for the answers and knowing that every situation is different, and yet at the same time we're looking for that one common connector that we could maybe start to attack as a society to make things better?
Well, it's challenging in the way our society is sort of split apart in so many different ways. Social media is a big part of it, and I think we're going to be hosting a webinar, putting a webinar together to help parents understand how to sort of deal with screen time and protecting their children's eyes, not only from pornography but from these violent thoughts or ideas that come through on social media, creating these sort of communities of sort of misfits that then suggest that the society hates them, they're marginalized, and therefore they need to act out. So we need to address that. You brought up social media, and that's a key component. I do think that Another thing is just the stratification. We don't, used to be, you and I were growing up, people watched the same TV shows, they read the same newspapers, and so there was sort of a community, even just in terms of the level of information that we had. I'm not suggesting that we go back to that necessarily, but it has created a different thing that people get in their own sort of bubbles and tunnel vision.
Well, there was a common set of values generally by society, and it was reinforced in kind of a common way in most places, generally, not in every situation. But I think that's what you're describing well.
Yeah, and that's true, and some of that also then has to do with church attendance, with understanding the notion that we are responsible to a higher power, to a God who created us. I was talking to a state legislator yesterday who was just talking about in a town hall that he had, and people were criticizing him for his Christian faith and saying that this whole notion that there is a God, basically attacking him or challenging on that. And he brought up the Declaration of Independence, which is that all men are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator, and they all yelled out, "Yes, their Creator, not the Creator or you or my Creator." And so even the idea that there's not a common perspective that we're all created is one that then creates a different framework for how do you then proceed in society when we don't share similar values.
Well, you just described two things that I think are really important. Number one, I think we need to tone down a little bit and open up our ears and have respect for someone else's opinion now and then. I think it's something that we don't do. And that idea of respect, that, you're going to hear somebody out, and maybe it's not going to be your thing, and maybe you're not even going to agree with them afterward, and that's okay, but you're willing to consider another point of view. But the idea also that something greater than ourselves controls our country, that's kind of what we started with. The idea that there was always something greater than ourselves. You see it reflected in the Declaration, even in the Constitution. And we don't seem to have that anymore. Everything is a moving, my truth isn't your truth and all this kind of stuff. And maybe it isn't. But by the same token, there should be a respect for each other in our country. There should be an ability to have a conversation in our country without wanting to go off and shoot somebody. I think we need to also go back to maybe our parenting. We need to maybe pay more attention to making sure we're parents of our kids, not friends. And I know that doesn't include everybody by any means, but I'm just saying a general feeling that if parents were paying attention to what their kids were watching, to what their kids were using in their smartphones and things like that, maybe things wouldn't be quite as bad. Just a final thought on that.
No, I think that's exactly right. And one of the things when people's faces or heads are buried in their phones, and that starts with kids. I was recently somewhere, and someone was saying, I don't know that I can afford more kids. I mean, by age 4, you have to get a smartphone. I'm thinking 4-year-olds with smartphones.
Oh, my gosh.
And so you create a situation where everybody's buried into this thing, and their minds are being fed with sometimes very damaging ideas, but then also they learn nothing about how to interact with other people who think differently with them. So everything that they're seeing coming online is maybe promoting the ideas that they have, and then they encounter somebody who has different ideas, and they're like, I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to be with you. I think, I saw Bill Maher, talk about, he was criticized for having had dinner with President Trump, and people were saying, how could you do that? You're humanizing him. Well, President Trump, whether you like him or not, is a human being. Exactly. And we just need to start treating people as their fellow human beings. They may think differently, they may act differently, and whatever, but we need to be able to have conversations and not shut them out of our lives, whether it's our parents because they support Trump or our parents because they don't support Trump.
Right.
To cut them off is just simply wrong.
Finally, I asked you that question at the beginning. What about, since Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk was chosen as CEO of Turning Point USA, 1,500 employees that reported revenues of $85 million in 2023 since the death of Charlie Kirk. Multi-million-dollar donations have poured in, as well as 37,000 requests to open chapters at universities across the country. 37,000. Now, how many of those requests will come to fruition? We'll wait and see. But that's just kind of the initial thing in the first 3 weeks. And we'll see if Erica Kirk, they're saying Erica Kirk might become the next big voice. You remember she said in her speech, you've awakened a fire here. And this widow is not going to be kept silent. So we'll see where her role is if as she goes forward here. And remember where that started, too. It started with forgiving the killer.
Yes.
Because she said, that's what my religion calls me to do. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes forward. Thank you for the conversation this morning, Michael. I truly appreciate it. And I'll look forward to catching up with you next Wednesday. Okay, my friend?
Yep, thanks, Gary.
Michael, thank you. Michael Gear, president of the Pennsylvania Family Institute. Find him at pafamily.org. We take a break. What do we have coming back, Mark?
Well, it was it was considered one of the greatest fights of all time.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll just leave it there for now.
All right. We'll catch that coming back here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 649.
Doctor comes up and looks at Frazier. I think it's going to be over. It's all over. I'm going to get up in the ring. Don, let me help you.
You can hear him climbing over with his microphone. 50 years ago today, on this date, 1975, Muhammad Ali.
And Muhammad Ali is pretty well spent, and I'm going to try to get over at him.
Was this the Rumble in the Jungle?
It was the other one, the Thrilla in Manila.
The Thrilla in Manila, yeah.
We're trying to get
It was
in
their
here.
third and final fight.
Ali,
This thing was a
who
war.
has retained his title.
And they were both just totally exhausted at the end. And I know they were attending to Frazier.
Yeah.
Heavyweight championships of all time.
Is this the third
This is
fight?
the third one, yes.
Yeah. Ali won the last two. Frazier won the first one up at Monticello Racetrack, or in New York at
Watkins Glen?
Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden, that's it.
Yeah. So it was that the two of them made history. They fed off each other.
Yes, they did.
And it was that was the high point probably of boxing, at least the heavyweight division, of which name the heavyweight champion today. And you'd be hard pressed to find it. I don't know who it is.
Me neither.
But back then, it was pay-per-view. That was just the kind of the birth of that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You'd listen on radio as someone would describe round for round what was going on, but you get like summaries. You didn't even know sometimes. So it was an interesting time, and Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier.
50 years ago.
50 years ago. It's hard. Again, another iconic event. You're right about that this morning.
There's a couple, and I think out of all the ones we're gonna hear today, there's one. I think it's next hour, maybe the hour after. Yeah, it was the 8 o'clock hour, and there's some of these things that are, and this one in particular, I'm going to play. You forget that there was a time before they were around.
Yeah, exactly right.
You just Oh, they've always been around.
And what was that?
Yes.
Then you go back to, what?
Where was that point? Because when they arrived on the scene, it was something new. It was something different. And these days, we really do take it for granted. But
we know what was interesting about Ali especially, and even Frazier to some degree. Frazier came on the scene after Ali was banished for 3 years. You didn't hear about Joe Frazier prior to that, other than, he's a pretty good boxer, but you didn't really know who he was. Well, he comes on the scene because we were looking for a new champion, so here comes Joe Frazier. Meanwhile, Ali is suspended because, they called him a draft dodger and all that stuff. He wouldn't go into the Army during the Vietnam War. Ali's life at that point paralleled that, I think, of the country and how we looked at war, and particularly the Vietnam War, and how we started out supporting it and ended up, kind of souring on the whole thing. And Ali went that whole way and paralleled that with his life. Now, I know a lot of veterans, even today, you mention Muhammad Ali, and they'll go, they hated him. But then, all of a sudden, here comes Frazier now, who's established himself. Here comes Ali back to fight out of the suspension. And now the two of them bring those two histories together, and we now have the Ali Frazier period of time there of probably 5 to 6 to 7 years, right?
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to see how those time periods kind of coincided with the careers of those two boxers at that time. And of course, Joe Frazier representing the United States, and then of course George Foreman. We remember George Foreman waving the flag during the Olympics. Ali, kind of the anti-hero there for a while, and then later on, Ali going and bringing hostages home, things like that. I mean, incredible time period where these guys became more than just sports people. They became part of a kind of a cultural phenomenon during that time. So
No doubt.
And I would dare say no one before that in that sport was anything like that. I mean, we heard of the Rocky Marcianos and people like that, but still nothing like that. Or even the Brown Bomber,
Yes,
the
Joe
Max
Lewis.
Schmeling battle with, remember that during World War
Yes.
II? Max Schmeling battles Joe Lewis. Joe Lewis knocks him out. We heard about times like that represented the times. Jesse Owens running the 100 in front of Adolf Hitler and winning and beating the Aryan myth in Germany, and Hitler walking out of the stadium. And so, those are all things that kind of coincide with the cultural time. So it's kind of interesting.
So earlier you were mentioning gun violence.
Yes.
And I saw this story, and it's not, it wasn't, I don't even think it was breaking news where it happened. But check out this story. It's a teen football star, tragic story for a number of reasons. And just check this out.
17-year-old Carson Ryan was reportedly accidentally shot in the back of the head by a member of his own hunting party while on the prowl for squirrels in Brighton, Iowa last weekend. Ryan was rushed to UI Health Medical Center where he was pronounced dead. Ryan was a varsity high school football star at Washington High School. His loved ones have launched a GoFundMe page that has raised more than $52,000. No charges have been filed, and the shooting is under investigation. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Man, think about that.
These kind of accidents, they do happen, but boy, are they tragic when they do.
Remember Cheney?
Yeah.
Cheney shot
friend
the
of his.
guy. Yes, I mean, he didn't die, thank God.
No.
But,
Which
it was
spawned an entire year of
Jokes.
pretty much tough jokes, yeah. Hey, by the way, I do want to remind you, a lot of people talk about depression. And one of the groups of people that we worry about when it comes to depression are adolescents. Kids, young adults. And what do? Some kids will say, well, I'm depressed. Well, there's one thing to be saying I'm depressed, meaning you're down, you're unhappy for the moment. And then there's another thing to be depressed where there's nothing you can really do about it. It's just part of who you are. And it's kind of like a disease, okay? And what happens is you want to find a way to get help for those kids, get those smiles back on their faces and so forth. Well, depression is something you can get dealt with here in a whole lot of different ways, through psychologists and psychiatrists, through medication. I've gone through a life of having to deal with that and have been able to do that. But there are other people that say, I still am a little bit off center, I'm off balance. And what do? Well, right here in York now, you have the York TMS Clinic at 1806 North George Street right here in York. And they use something called the NeuroStar treatment. And what the NeuroStar treatment does, it treats depression at its source, okay? It's transcranial magnetic stimulation. And it goes right to the source of depression, which is your brain. It's a non-invasive, non-drug treatment that uses focused magnetic pulses to wake up those areas. They're low kind of pulses, about 19 minutes. You actually can sit there and talk with people while you're doing it. You're sitting back in a chair, and it helps your brain work the way it should. And it's a new possibility now for adolescent depression. 1 in 5 U.S. adolescents experience at least one major depressive episode. If you want to find out more about it, why don't you stop by today at 1806 North George Street, right here in York, York TMS Clinic. And you give them a call at 717-699-7361. They are ready to help you today to help get at that whole depression kind of thing. York TMS Clinic, tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. 1806 North George Street, right here in New York. Or go to yorktmsclinic.com. When we come back, Jeffrey Coleman joins us, the co-host of Morning Light, here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 7 o'clock, time for news.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back? Back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to hour number 2 of the Gary Sutton Show here on a Wednesday morning, where it is the 1st of October through 2025, 55 degrees here at Brooks Robinson Plaza. Brooks had a sweater on this morning, I noticed, when I walked in. He was a little chilly, but going to be a nice day. Going to be, about 71, 72 later today.
Sunny.
Fall-like, little
it's
twinge in the air.
I don't know if I don't think I've heard you mention this. Obviously, you play golf.
Right.
I play pickleball. Yesterday, I went to play pickleball. This lady had an industrial-sized blower. She brought a blower, and at first I thought, what the hell are you doing? And oh, wait a second, that's a great idea. She blew all the leaves off the court. Do you do that with the golf? Do you blow the leaves off?
They do that at our course. They actually go around and they blow the leaves off. They blow back on eventually, but for 5 minutes, it looks pretty good. Yeah. So I'm playing today, by the way. I'm actually playing with John Giambalvo today out at the Outdoor Country Club, and we're going to kick it around a little bit. And John, a really good golfer, very nice. He's also an Alabama fan, by the way.
Are you betting? Are there friendly wagers?
No, just strictly a friendly get-together, play golf, enjoy the day, conversation, the crisp autumn air, the leaves blowing around the, whatever. Thank you.
That's my version of falling leaves.
Thank you. Very nice.
The fallen leaves.
Drift by my window. Fallen leaves of red and gold. Yeah, anyway, you get the idea. But anyway, by the way, our show, just in case you didn't know, is brought to you by a presenting sponsor, Barley Snyder Law Firm. They are the innovative legal solution specialists for this business. 29 different areas they practice in, 130 plus attorneys. I'll tell you what, when you say Barley Snyder here in New York, I think you got a gold standard, because there are people who do have innovative solutions. There are people who are on the cutting edge of what's going on in the various industries, and they are people who are up to date and ready to help you and your business to do well. Okay, you can check them out at barley.com. Here in New York, they're at 100 East Market Street. You can give them a call at 717-846-8888. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this hour, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by the 7 o'clock hour, Your Medicare Solutions. That's your-medicare-solutions.net in the web. Keith and Becky Rill. They are two of the... I'll tell you what, if they don't know the answer to what's happening with Medicare, it probably isn't one. I'm kidding when I say that, but they dig for all the ways to help you with Medicare. And they'll explain what Medicare is, how it works, your personal options. They'll give you peace of mind, and they'll find the best plans for you. And they'll tell you about how to get simply enrolled. Now, you can schedule a consult with them right now, and you can call them, for example, at 717-487-4382, or email them at rill@your-medicare-solutions.net. That's rill, R-I-L-L, at your-medicare-solutions.net, like I did last night. I set up an appointment for October 22nd, I think. Or no, it's actually October 15th. And I'm going to be meeting with them to review my programs to see if I'm getting the very best. They're independent agents for Medicare, Advantage, and supplement plans, and they are ready to help you today. Tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you, and go to your-medicare-solutions.net and find out all about the Rills. Anyway, WOYK News Time is 7:08. And we're joined this morning by Jeff Coleman, who is principal at Churchill Strategies, also co-host of Morning Light on Lighthouse TV. You can find it here on Channel 49 in our local area. Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Good morning, Gary. I'm doing well, thank you.
The word hypocrisy comes to mind today as I see our government shut down this morning, and I watch Republicans and Democrats every time this comes up, which is like watching a kabuki theater, and they come up and they say, we have to pay our bills. Come on. And that's if you're on the side that is happy about what the government's doing. And if you're on the other side, you have some grift to worry about. You're saying, oh, no, we've got to fight back. This morning, I think we all are looking at this and saying hypocrisy, politics instead of policy. We look at no budget here in Pennsylvania. We say politics instead of policy. A lot of people losing faith in the way our government operates because of some of these things.
Yeah.
And they seem to happen way too often. I wanted to get your take on that. You're a former representative. You know what it's like to be inside and have to try to make laws and do all those kind of things. But politics over policy is something that's, I think, starting to annoy a lot of people in this country. Your take on that?
Yeah, I don't think anybody who is in politics really believes they're putting politics over policy. I think that they feel that good politics means good policy. So there's a flip there, meaning the more we embarrass, defeat, humiliate, stop, thwart, whatever the word is you want to use, the other side, the better it is for the country. In the case of Republicans, we say the better we stop anything that Governor Shapiro does or the Democrats in Washington do is one small step in the fight against socialism, communism, and one world government.
Right.
That's on one side. And then kind of the narrative from the other side. So when you are at this kind of brinksmanship, and the benefit is, if you've got an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old intern or staffer who's saying, hey, boss, social media hits way up this morning.
Yeah.
Look, we've got 1.5 million hits on your comments from the floor last night saying we will not do this, we will not. And then what if you had polling that confirmed that this was a benefit for you or your party?
Right.
That's where we're at, and the challenge really is you've got to have 1, 2, 3, 4 people who are willing to stand up and say, respectfully, I need to tell you what's actually happening here.
Yep.
I always haven't been perfect, but today I just need to tell the truth. And here's how it's working. Here's why it's not happening.
I guess the thing that bothers me the most about this is the idea that we send these people to make good policy. And I guess, and here's where I think I may be different. You said about politics and policy going together. I think it's an oxymoron. I see politics as the winning and losing to get to a position. In other words, I'm going to win, someone else is going to lose because, we got people who are competing for a position. End that chapter, put that book away, get out the second book. And the second book is called Policy, where everybody ought to win and win. And now, okay, I've beaten that person. I'm in this position. Now I've got to govern. I see them as divorced. But I know a lot of people don't see it that way, probably a lot more than are on my side. But I do believe that is the way we should be doing it to get to this idea of, okay, now I become the representative of all the people, whether they voted for me or not, and what am I doing? And when I look at the record right now of what people are doing, I say, wow, it doesn't look that good.
Well, do this. Here's a field trip challenge for listeners this morning. Is sit in the gallery of the House of Representatives or the state Senate. You'll appreciate it. You'll get a view of how members interact on the floor. You'll see how many Democrats and how many Republicans walk off the floor together and have collegial relationships, might be showing each other pictures on their phones from the weekend to their families.
Right.
But as soon as they walk off the floor and their communications person says, again, hey, boss, you need to pick a fight.
Yeah.
You need to. This is what the leader wants us to say. The Democrats are shutting down. The Republicans are shutting down. The fingers are pointing and all that. And I'm doing this for you, my taxpayers back home. All it does is it increases cynicism all around. Eventually, the people back home don't believe you really have their best interests because you really have, as a legislator and as a congressman, you have one job. One job. The rest is kind of theater, and that is to make sure money is spent appropriately. You're an appropriator.
I've been following Chuck Schumer here, who's the Senate Minority Leader, who's the guy who's really leading this. He kind of rolled over last time this happened, and he got scorned by his party, and particularly by the left-hand side of his party. Yesterday, I read about the fact he's going around quietly and asking people, can we get some votes to kind of vote for this? And they said, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
This becomes like Chuck Schumer, who, how many times have we seen Chuck Schumer say, we got to pay our bills. You've got to vote to pass this through. And now here he is on the other side. And you wonder about the standpoint of, are you, is this about saving your job, or is this the best interests of the country right now? I would offer right now, it appears to me that it's about saving his job and making him somehow attracted to continue to be the leader of his party. And that's the perception that I have right now.
Well, I'd say short answer, yes. Here's another group of people you have to put in this pageant we're talking about. We've got to look outside the doors of the Capitol and across the street to where the fundraisers work, and people that are working the phones and leveraging conflict in order to raise money. And the metrics they're looking at today is not whether or not they have the votes. Think about that as LBJ, Tip O'Neill, Ronald Reagan days,
right,
when people were counting votes. What they're counting is not just social media likes and hits and shares and the controversy and are we trending, but they're looking at the bank account. They're looking at how many clicks that fundraising email got. There's email text campaigns, Democrats, Schumer is, Republicans, and Speaker Johnson and Donald Trump are shutting down. And if those messages are working, the gravy is flowing, you do not want to shut the spigot off in the middle of a good fight, because even though people are suffering, the money is coming in. And that's what the word you started out with, which was hypocrisy. That's what we have to reconcile. We've got to find a way to bridge the gap between truth and theater.
Now, when you were a representative in the State House, I believe you were there for 2 terms, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So did you get that kind of heat from people? And if so, how? Now, obviously, you probably didn't have the whole phone thing at that time. We didn't have as much put on social media. But how did you react when someone came to you and said, hey, we've got to do this, this, this? And so maybe that didn't coincide with the way you thought about things.
So there are 2 pressure points that you have as a rank and file member. You have your leadership pressure, and they're controlling everything from your parking space to your office to your staff to whether or not your staff gets benefits. They're controlling whether or not you're able to order your letterhead and your pen and whether you have a computer. And then on the other hand, you have the constituents, and that's broken up into multiple groups. You know the numbers. You know what your reelect number is. You know what you need to go back in. But you also know where there is potential for you to be vulnerable. And in most cases, because these districts are drawn Democrat or drawn Republican, your exposure isn't going to come from your lane. It's going to come from slightly to the right or slightly to the left.
Okay.
So you have to protect your right or left flank, depending if you're a progressive or a conservative. So that's your real challenge, is you're trying to keep what we call the base happy, but then there's another level of the base, which is really perpetual 24 hours a day thinking about if you step out of line, hey, I love you, I voted for you, I'll come to your picnic and your fundraiser, but if you step out of line, there is going to be, in their words, hell to pay, and I'll be at your front door tomorrow. And in some cases, they camp out on your front lawn, which is at home.
We're going to be watching carefully to see what comes out of this, but hypocrisy never leaves sometimes in the theaters of government. But, hey, what do you have going on the show today, by the way?
This may be the most one of the most challenging shows we're doing this morning. On Sunday, Russia launched the largest drone in the history of the war, this phase of the war against Ukraine. And there's a miraculous story of a pastor and his young family who survived. After being chased out of his mega church in southern Ukraine a couple of years ago, the Russians famously took down the 40-foot cross, put up a Russian flag in its place. They've been chasing him for a long time. They followed him to Kyiv. They targeted his house. He survived. He's going to be on the program this morning. I've been messaging with him, and it is a story that defies belief. But if you are having any trouble believing there is a God and that he has a plan, this show is a powerful one.
9 o'clock this morning on Channel 49, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, don't miss it. It's Morning Light. Deborah Pinkerton and Jeff Coleman, the co-hosts on that, and it's just a great show. A morning news magazine through a different prism, if you will. And always great to have you on, my friend. Thank you for giving us a little bit of inside scoop this morning here, too, on what it's like to be a representative, but also a little bit of a look at this whole national conversation we're having today about shutting down the government. Have a great day, my friend. Bless you, and have a wonderful week, okay?
Thank you. See you, Gary.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Jeffrey Coleman here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. When we come back, hey, today is the opening day. And no, not a football. No, not a baseball. But something very important to a whole lot of you out there. You want to find out what it is when we come back here as Keith Rill joins us here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. It's 7:19.
Fox Sports Update.
Swing and a line drive. Ripped right field. Back on. Leadoff homer. Shohei Ohtani, a low liner over the right field fence. And just like that, the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead. Shohei explodes immediately.
On ESPN, Shohei Ohtani hit 2 home runs in Game 1 against the Reds last night. So did Teoscar Hernandez. Los Angeles built an 8-0 lead on Cincinnati and held on to win 10-5. The Dodgers can advance to the division series against the Phillies with another win over the Reds tonight.
He got him, and the Red Sox rally from behind and take Game 1 of this wild card 3-1.
On ESPN, the Red Sox trailed the Yankees 1-0 until the 7th inning after New York manager Aaron Boone lifted starter Max Fried. After 6 1/3 scoreless innings, the Red Sox broke through. Masataka Yoshida hit a 2-run pinch hit single off Luke Weaver. Alex Bregman added an RBI double in the ninth. Yankees loaded the bases with nobody out in the bottom of the ninth, but Boston closer Aroldis Chapman escaped the jam. Sox will try to advance past the Yankees tonight. If the Cubs beat the Padres again this afternoon at Wrigley Field, Chicago will be in the division series. Cubs beat the Padres 3-1 Tuesday behind back-to-back home runs from Seiya Suzuki and Carson Kelly. The Detroit Tigers, who blew an MLB record 15.5-game lead atop the AL Central and lost the division by 1 game to the Guardians, are 1 game away from ending Cleveland's magical season. The Tigers beat the Guardians in Game 1 2-1, 14 strikeouts for Tarek Skubal. The WNBA Finals are set. Phoenix Mercury will play the Las Vegas Aces, who needed overtime in a deciding Game 5 last night to eliminate the Indiana Fever 107-98. 35 points for Asia Wilson. WNBA Finals start Friday in Vegas. It's Game On with the Fox Sports app, available wherever you download apps. I'm Jared Max.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK, where it's 7:25. And time now to check in with Keith Rill of Your Medicare Solution. You can find him at your-medicare-solutions.net. He and Becky Rill are ready to help you right now. And today is a big day, Keith. Good morning. But I told people today is the first day of what? That's the completion question for this morning. How you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you this morning, Gary?
I am doing great, but today is, the first day to kind of start looking at your plan, right? Getting ready for this year in terms of Medicare.
Yeah, exactly. Today is the first official day of the Medicare annual enrollment period. So October 1st is the day that folks can, start exploring plan options. By now, they should have gotten a document from their insurance carrier called the Annual Notice of Change. And what that is that's from your insurance company, and it explains the changes to your plan for the 2026 plan year. So folks should know, what their plans, what their plan is going to look like for 2026 that they're currently enrolled in. So if they want to start shopping for other options, they can begin doing that today, bearing in mind that they can't enroll until October 15th. But by all means, let the Medicare plan shopping begin.
Yeah, and I sent a little notice to you last night. You and I've got an appointment coming up to take a look at mine, because I'm one of those guys over the years that I think this is a major mistake that I've made, and I'm not going to make it again, where you sit pat on what you have and say, okay, well, it was good enough last year, it's good enough this year. But there are changes as we go along, and I think that's something that people need to know about, right, Keith?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're actually, for the 2026 plan year, we're seeing more changes coming up for 2026 than we have in the previous 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
And there's a lot of reasons for that. The cost of health care has gone up. Utilization among seniors has gone up over the past couple of years. So in many cases, insurance carriers are kind of tightening their belts in terms of benefits. A lot of people with Medicare Advantage may see ancillary benefits, going down a little bit in order to try and preserve, lower copays and co-insurances and things of that nature for healthcare benefits like doctor visits and things like that. So people really need to be on the lookout in terms of that annual notice of change. And, if you have questions about it, or if you want to explore other options, or you feel as though your health status or prescriptions have changed, it's a really good time to talk to an independent Medicare health insurance agent.
Yeah, and that would be like you and Becky, who would do a great job. I don't know anybody that knows more about Medicare than you two do. I've listened to you talk a little bit about it. I'm kind of amazed. And what's really interesting about what you two do is you go find things that people normally would not even look for by digging down a few more levels, right? I mean, that's something that's really interesting to me. You love this stuff, and you really get inside it. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you review my plan to see, what I'm missing out on here.
Yeah, we kind of call ourselves Medicare health insurance nerds. So, I mean, we really dig into the details. The beauty of working with us, too, is we're contracted with many health insurance carriers.
Right.
So we can really help you get a landscape view across multiple insurance carriers, not only, to find, not only within one, but within many, to find the best health insurance fit.
And see, that to me is just amazing. And if you know Keith and Becky at all, they dig and they like to know the answers, and they're great people to be around. That's one of the great things about it, too. You're going to get a smile. You're going to get people who really want to help you, and they do. When you meet them, you can call them at 717-487-4382. That's 717-487-4382 to set up an appointment. Or you can email them at RILL, R-I-L-L, at your-medicare-solutions.net. That's RILL, R-I-L-L, at your-medicare-solutions.net. Now, Keith, you mentioned the 15th you can start to make your choice. How long does that last? What are the parameters there? The starting point, obviously, the 15th. When's the ending point?
Yeah, so you can start enrolling in plans for the 2026 plan year.
Right.
On October 15th, and it runs through December 7th.
Okay.
So, we've got several weeks here to help you, take a look at your plan and see if there might be a better fit for you for the 2026 plan year.
Do what I did. Sign up for a conversation. Yeah, I did that last night. I'm looking forward to hearing from them and having them evaluate what I've got right now. Maybe you'd like to, too. Again, one more time, 717-487-4382, or email them at your-medicare-solutions.net, or go on their website at your-medicare-solutions.net. Great people who are ready to help you right now during the election period of what you're going to elect in terms of Medicare for a lot of you who are in that particular area. Keith, always great to talk to you. Thank you so much for all you're doing for the community and all you're doing to educate the community as well. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate talking to you this morning, Gary.
Thanks, Keith. Keith Rill, and they are the sponsors of this hour, Your Medicare Solutions, on the Gary Sutton Show. We take a break. When we come back, Tim Barker, our District Attorney of York County, is going to talk about, is there a common strand to all the violence that seems to be happening in our country right now? He's going to dive into a very complex kind of question here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show. Back with more from Tim Barker right after this.
In a matter of seconds, a country music festival turned tragic, a storm of gunfire raining down upon an innocent crowd.
He was shooting everybody, and there was dead people everywhere, and I don't even know what was happening. He was just shooting randomly.
It started at 10:08 p.m. The first reports of shots fired as singer Jason Aldean performed. Initially, there was confusion, many wondering if the sounds were part of the show.
It's fireworks! It's fireworks! Stop! It's fireworks!
But they quickly realized what was happening.
We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the fairgrounds.
A gunman perched on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Resort had opened fire on 22,000 concert goers.
It was on this date 8 years ago in 2017. A gunman in Las Vegas opened fire and basically for 10 minutes just opened fire. He had all kinds of ammo and I was on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. In the end, 58 people were killed, more than 800 were injured.
Unbelievable.
And we really, I don't think they ever found like a motive for this guy.
No, I don't think so either, but it's amazing when you think back to that and so many that have come before. And it's in that kind of spirit that we go to our next guest this morning, Tim Barker, District Attorney of York County, who's had to deal with the killing of 3 officers here lately. And Tim, great to have you in this morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Gary? Good to talk to you.
Doing pretty well, and I hate to lead into a segment with that, but, you know, you and I were conversing back last night on text, and you said you were talking about your musical brain doesn't like to reflect back on I Don't Like Mondays by the Boomtown Rats, 1979 school shooting by a teenager at the Grover Cleveland Elementary School in San Diego, and you said it's really the first modern school shooting and still disturbing to this day. The question I had for you this morning, and it's a simple question, but it's a complex question, and I asked you the question, society wants a common strand for all of these kinds of killings that we see over the years. We saw one over this past weekend again where a guy drives a truck into a Church of Latter-day Saints in Michigan and kills 4 people, sets the church on fire, burns it to the ground, shoots at people. We want a common strand, and yet every one of these situations is different. But people are saying, well, there's got to be something common that's driving people to this. A lot of people look at social media as maybe a culprit, but is there more to it than that? It's a very complex kind of answer, and I just wanted to get your take on that this morning in a general sense.
Yeah, sure thing. And it is really complex because what winds up happening, we know there are common drivers of crime, but the way that they can go ahead and take a person and what can occur with the motive can change. So, we've seen examples of, here tragically, domestic violence. We talk frequently about how there can wind up being group violence. There can be economically motivated violence. One of the things that we've seen that's really disturbed and shaken our country is political violence and the rise of political violence that seems to be increasing. Well, all of this does have some common factors. There are a lot of studies that have been done that have identified what they call 8 criminogenic needs, 8 areas that really drive crime, and a few of them really stand out, and we'd be able to find some common aspects with, like antisocial cognition. That's your value system, your beliefs, your attitudes. Antisocial personality traits, impulsivity, lack of empathy, defiance. Antisocial associates. And that's one where we tend to think usually about the neighborhood you live in or your friend group locally, things like that. But that's where social media, which goes into leisure time as one of the 8, how do you spend your free time? Right. What are you doing? How are you involved with stuff? Online gaming and social media and the connections that come through there. The original intent was to expand into the positive, but it's being bombarded with the negative. And that is now the new peer group. And when you spread that out to go ahead and have, especially if you've got that antisocial thinking, or if you've got the lack of values and empathy, your splash that you're going to make is going to be more and more grand. Now, again, we've seen this for decades. We've seen this for a long time, and there are some interesting commentaries that have existed with some parallels between for political violence today versus the 60s, and they've been very interesting to listen to and to do some reading on. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you a question though. What makes people like let's say the shooter Charlie Kirk, the alleged shooter right now? I should say alleged shooter because he has a day in court. But what makes it where you are so interested in being responsible for a heinous act like that it goes by, geez, if I do that, this is going to happen, a fear of the consequences? I wonder about that, because to me, most of us sit down and measure and say, okay, well, what's the risk and what's the reward and what are the consequences as we think about our normal daily transactions. But in that case, you have people who say, I'm going to be famous if I do this, or somehow I have this grievance, and they transfer it over from something totally unrelated into, nobody knows why this guy drove the truck into the church on Sunday, set it on fire, and killed people with a gun. That's where we're hard-pressed to try to figure that out right now.
So this goes to, I think, something deeper that you've been talking with a lot of your guests about. And it goes to the foundation of what our country is about, and why the counter-revival spiritually is important, because there is a connection between the values of our country and whether or not we are a spiritual people. And I'll use that terminology. I've talked about my Christian faith, but I'll use that terminology overall, because what that gives is a value sense that promotes faith, hope, and love. Right there, going right out of 1 Corinthians, faith, hope, and love, the greatest of these being love. You talked this morning also already about truth. I've talked frequently about how one of the problems that we are having in our society is the watering down of truth. I work in a system that ultimately begins with the truth-determining process, and it's gotten a lot tougher to get to truth when everybody walks around and says, well, this is my truth, that's your truth, that's their truth. Everybody's got a truth. No, there is a truth that exists, and when you have spirituality, Christian faith, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Okay? There is an absolute truth that we are to be seeking. When you erode hope, and a lot of these things that have been occurring have been a nonstop bombardment and attack on the aspects of the foundations of our country, which also attack spirituality as well. When you are constantly attacking that, it undermines hope. And if you live without hope, you absolutely are going to give in to all of these criminogenic notions. If there's no hope for tomorrow, then any kind of action I do right now is going to be the best action.
Well, you've hit a really important point there, I think, and that's something I've been thinking about a lot. And I was going to ask the next question, but you already answered it.
Sure.
But, so people who would normally at some point in time say, well, I can't do that because that's against the law. That's against any kind of spiritual law. That's against, cultural law. It's against every aspect of law. And now you say, but I hate this so bad, or I hate I hate so bad, like the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk says, I'm tired of him spewing hate from his vantage point. I can't stand that anymore. I got to take care of killing him. So in other words, your hate takes over the hate that he allegedly has been spewing. And in some weird way, you can justify that because, well, there's really not a basis anymore for what's right and what's wrong. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that absolutely is. And that goes right into the common aspect for all violence, which, again, we talk about the antisocial values and belief systems. We talk about the antisocial personality and antisocial associates. You know, that type of stuff brews up. A lot of times we see it. We've talked before about early childhood trauma, about those adverse childhood experiences, the ACEs. So we don't know what's in the background of everybody, and it doesn't mean just because you have that you become violent. None of this stuff means that, but it means you keep throwing ingredients into the cauldron, and you have outside negative influences constantly that'll stir that cauldron to go ahead and keep the things going to where you can build up. You start off with, I don't like Mondays. Probably the most disturbing aspect about that whole case, because we all want to have a clear, easy, simple why, and they don't exist. And when you break down that shooter, you see all kinds of adverse childhood experiences. But in the end, when asked, why are you doing this, by a reporter, her actual comment was, I don't like Mondays. This will liven things up. Wow. I mean, when you have that occur, we can't wrap our heads around it as generally as a society, which shows us something else. Society, as people, we want good. Generally speaking, we want love, we want light, we want togetherness. And when you have moments like this, the polarization that has always happened coming out of these times that are more dark and despair-filled, or things that occur like this, has been a revival and a resurgence of love. And I think that we are going to go through that even stronger. Anybody that walks around York County right now, you feel a revival of love. And the other thing that I would add just quickly with that, too, is, violence is down here in York County, has been down, and there are a number of places that are really doing a lot to go ahead and continue to knock violence down. Now, we still got further to go, and we talked about that before, but this work is worth it, and we are worth it in standing together. And that's how, societally, we can help individuals conquer these antisocial and these criminogenic aspects.
Well, I'll tell you what. Really good stuff this morning there, Tim. I appreciate that, because we're looking, as we said, we're looking for the common strand. It probably doesn't exist, and yet at the same time there are conditions in the country, and we hope some of those conditions change, and maybe we experience some kind of spiritual rebirth, not necessarily just to one religion, but to the idea that there's something larger than ourselves on which we need to have a basis, a foundation for the way we act in this country. My friend, thank you so much for taking time to be with us this morning. It really meant a lot. And this is not an easy subject, and I appreciate the fact you're looking at it from so many different sides here. That's a great stuff. Thank you again.
Oh, absolutely, Gary. Anytime.
Tim
Thank you so much.
Our district attorney here of York County, with us here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show, as we continue to try to find the answers to this kind of violence that seems to be happening way too often in our country. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and we got some good stuff to tell you about, too. And Mark's got more for you. I do as well. It's here on the Gary Sutton Show, the main street of York County, and it's right here on WOYK. Back with more right after this.
Pennsylvania Turnpike, once a dream of a few far-seeing men, is now a reality. Less than 2 years after construction was started, the 160-mile concrete limited way was open to traffic.
It was on this date, 1940, the Pennsylvania Turnpike opens.
1940.
Yes, it had toll booths and everything.
Oh yeah, now you have toll booths, but nobody in them. And
right.
So it's a different time. You get to drive right on through. That came out of COVID, didn't it? That's when that really kind of got kicked in.
I think
it was on its way, but I think it got pushed along.
Technology just, I mean, you know, if you have it, why not use it? So just about everybody has one of those things.
Easy passes.
Yes, if you're using the Turnpike at all, you have one of those, and it works great because it also translates to other states. As long as you have money in your account, you know, you can you're not stopping for anything,
right.
And you pay the bill.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of you know one of my favorite restaurants is Yanni's. And it's located 2 places here in New York, 310 Town Center Drive in the West Manchester Town Center out on the west side of town. And then on the east side of town is the 2815 Concord Road, which is right there in the Best Buy shopping center, just a couple doors down from Best Buy. And it's great Mediterranean food. But I had a question asked me the other day that I never thought I would have asked of me. I guess I just assumed everybody knew, and they don't. John Politzopoulos, who is the owner of Yanni's, and they also have places up at Union Deposit. They're up in Hershey. They're everywhere right now. John, you're not going to believe the question I had asked me the other day. You ready for this? Good morning.
Ready.
Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Someone said, "What is a gyro? What is a hiro?" And I said, "Really?" I looked at them, and I assume everybody knew that, but everybody doesn't know what that is, do they? And I thought, from the mouth of Yanni himself, John, this morning, I would let him tell you what a gyro is, and by the time he gets done, you'll be licking the screen somewhere. John, what is a gyro for most people? And again, I'm using the American pronunciation. It's not the right one, but it's the American one.
It's the best sandwich ever. You have your traditional beef lamb shaved right off the machine there right in front of you with our homemade tzatziki sauce, lettuce, tomato, onions, and a warm grilled pita bread. The best sandwich you could ever get.
And I'm telling you what, the ingredients on it are so fresh, it's insane. And then if you get the Hercules gyro and you want to add some of the the wonderful, well-cooked French fries that you make right there, then you have something that's totally in outer space, right?
That's right. A little extra bonus on that one.
So I wanted to ask you this morning how the new Easter location is doing for you. You just opened that up about 2 months ago, and a brand new location on the east side here at 2815 Concord Road in New York. How's business out in the east side of town doing now?
It's going great. Everybody over there has been amazing to us, just as they are over on the west side.
John, something else too that you and I haven't talked about much, but you've got a food truck that gets out there, and tell me about the special, situations you can use the food truck. Maybe you have a special party coming up, or maybe you have an area that you want to bring it out to. Talk a little bit about that and how you use that on a regular basis.
Yep, so our food truck right now is parked inside Hershey Park Friday, Saturday, Sunday for their Dark Nights event all the way to the first week of November.
Right.
And we do all kinds of events. We've gone to festivals. We come to your office for lunch. Whatever you need, give us a call, book it online on our website, yannisgyros.com, and we'll go from there.
One of the great things about Yanni's is the fact that it's healthy. I mean, the food that you're going to eat there is healthy. I mean, you would talk about protein, you talk about vegetables, is what I eat right now. I go out there and, I'll tell you what, they just have some of the great food of all time. Like they've got the chicken on a stick, they've got, which is called souvlaki, they've got pork on a stick, they've got that always famous tzatziki sauce, but wonderful salads. A lot of people don't realize you make some of the freshest salads around, and even if you're looking for a great burger, your burgers are off the charts, John.
Well, thank you very much. Yep, we got a little variety of everything.
Now, something else, too, is you can order online. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can order at Yanni's. You can call in there. You can stop by, which is what I like to do. And I'll be stopping by later on today to grab my Greek feast here tonight. But tell people a little bit about all the different ways you can get to Yanni's and actually order online, as well as some of the other ways of doing it as well, John.
Yep, you can come in. You could dine in. You could come in to do a takeout order.
You can phone us at any of our locations, and you can do a pickup. We do DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats, or you can go right through our website, put the order in yourself, and come pick it up whenever you're available.
And that website is YannisGyros.com. That's Yannis, Y-I-A-N-N-I-S, Gyros, G-Y-R-O-S.com. And again, for people who don't know the absolute correct pronunciation of gyro, what is the real pronunciation of it, John?
It's a gyro.
Gyro. Yeah, so when you're going to say it, you go gyro. Which sounds like hero with a Y, but gyro. Finally, some of the best desserts. Your mother makes some of these unbelievable desserts out there. Tell people a little bit about, things like baklava and ekmek and things like that.
We got a little variety of homemade desserts. We got rice pudding, homemade. We got my mom's ekmek, which you don't really find anywhere else. It's shredded phyllo dough and the honey with custard, a whipped topping, and toasted almonds. And then we also have a few desserts that we import in from Greece. Wow.
And I'm telling you what, I've tried just about every one of them, and they're all great. Plus, the atmosphere out there to dine in is wonderful. You can stop out there at 310 Town Center Drive right here in the West Manchester Town Center, or go over to the east side of town and stop out there where Best Buy is at 2815 Concord Road. And Yanni's East is out there. Just a wonderful place to go. And I guarantee one thing. When you go in there, you're going to get met with a smile, a hello, and then great food to follow, and a wonderful ambiance as well. John, congratulations for bringing Mediterranean dining here to York, and it is a hit. Everywhere I'm going, I'm hearing people say, hey, you go to Yanni's, right? That place is unbelievable, and people have never had a gyro before. Now you know what it's all about at Yanni's. Stop out there today. John, thanks so much for all you're doing to bring great taste here to York.
Well, thank you, Gary, and thank you to the amazing community of York for welcoming us. We appreciate everybody.
Thank you, John. John Politzapoulos, I'll tell you what, Yanni's, east side, west side, all around the town. You want to get out there and try out some great Mediterranean dining at Yanni's, and don't forget to ask them about it in the right way. It's a gyro, not a gyro.
So our food holidays today would probably do pretty well at Yanni's. World Vegetarian Day.
There you go. You can get the great salads out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Homemade Cookies Day. I had a chocolate chip cookie this morning.
Right.
It was not homemade, though.
Okay.
International Day of Older Persons.
Seasoned citizens.
Not to be confused with Senior Citizen Day.
Yes,
or
Older Persons
Old
Day.
Folks Day, yeah.
It's all comparative. Yeah.
International Music Day, and there's a good reason behind that.
Yes.
I'll explain later. National Hair Day.
I'm half excited about that.
Yes, and National Walk Your Dog Day. Beautiful weather for walking a dog today.
And if you have a really big dog, he can walk you.
Yes.
There you go. This hour has been brought to you by your-medicare-solutions.net. Keith and Becky Rill are ready to help you right now. Today is the opening day of, Medicare, and taking a look at your policies. It's over on the 15th. You can start to select all the way up until, I think he said December 7th. Give them a call today, 717-487-4382. Keith and Becky Rill, they're ready to answer your questions about Medicare, your policy. Don't just sit pat like I did. Get it right, and give them a call today. And they are the sponsors of this hour right here on the Gary Sutton Show. When we come back, we check in with Ryan on the economic picture. It's 8 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back? Back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And a happy and nippy good morning to you. Here I am, Gary Sutton. It is the first day of October, 2025. And our show brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Barley Snyder, Attorneys at Law, which has 29 different areas that they practice in. 130 plus attorneys in Pennsylvania and Maryland that do the practicing, and I'll tell you what, they do it well. They get you solutions. Yeah, legal solutions for your business, helping to make your business better. And they're innovative and they're cutting edge and they're people who know what they're talking about. They become a gold standard here, not just for the York community, but all around Pennsylvania and Maryland. And they are a law firm for today's business world. You can check them out at barley.com for an area that may be of concern to you in your business. And then you can call them, like, for example, here in York, it's 717-846-8888. They are located at 100 East Market Street right here in York, right across the Yorktown Hotel, across Duke Street there, and the old bank building. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. And they're open 9 to 5 every weekday. Give them a call today. Barley Snyder Law Firm, the gold standard for practicing law right here in the York area. And this hour, the 8 o'clock hour, being brought to you specifically by Total Exterminating Services. TestPest.com is where you can find them. Steve Shetter and his family have started this business, and I'll tell you what, they are gaining traction all over the area when it comes to Lancaster, York, and Hanover. Steve has over 50 years of experience in this business, and you can give him a call today at 717-951-3868. Hey, those pests are starting to move inside as it gets colder, and you want them to move back out, okay? Give Steve an email today at steven.shetter, SHETTER, at testpest.com for residential and commercial pest control. The proud sponsors of this hour on the Gary Sutton Show. You'll be hearing from Steve later on in the hour. But right now, we're looking, and I was reading an article this morning about the idea that people are becoming a little less confident in what they're doing with the economy in terms of spending. Of course, now we got a shutdown in the government today, and who knows what that's going to bring up. But I was reading the Washington Post this morning, and also in Market Watch, consumer confidence weakens on growing concerns about jobs. Consumer confidence index hits lowest level since April. Well, we got Ryan Fox with us this morning from Houston Fox Financial Advisory Services to talk about where we are right now in that whole pantheon of feelings. Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, Gary, I'm good this morning. How about yourself?
Well, you know, little concerned about the shutdown and, again, our inability to really work together to come up with budgets and even continuing resolutions, or in the state of Pennsylvania, we can't even come up with a budget. But also this idea, we're reading a lot about consumer confidence and where that stands. What's your take on it from all that you're reading right now and all that you're kind of checking out, Ryan?
Yeah, the solution is put them all in a room, make them drink a gallon of water, and tell them they can use the bathroom after they negotiate the solution.
Hey,
I still think that would work for a lot of us in these difficult situations.
The Ryan Fox answer, I like it.
Yeah. So maybe that'll get to the White House and they'll have a meeting. But, markets have kind of looked over these shutdowns historically. And when we look back at the last 6 or 8 of them, some of these shutdowns in 95 lasted 5 days. Other ones in 2018, 34 days. But the strange thing is the way markets react. So back in the late 1970s, we had 2 shutdowns, one October 1st of 78, one October 1st of 79. And they lasted 17 and 11 days each. And the S&P 500 biggest U.S. stocks, great barometer of the stock market, was down 2% over the first one, 4% over the second. But since then, the shutdowns we've had, and the best example is the December 2018 shutdown, lasted 34 days. The S&P rose 10.3% over that time. So markets tend to see this as a short-term event that has a limited impact on the economy. And really, it shouldn't change about, a whole lot what we're doing. But it starts to flow into consumer confidence. How do we feel about our own personal situation, our own finances? Yet, year to date, markets are up. S&P is up about 14, Dow 10, NASDAQ somewhere around 17%. So markets have done pretty darn good in spite of this chaos. Nike, shoe manufacturer, clothing manufacturer, came out with earnings after the bell last night. Were pretty good, better than expected. And that's an interesting barometer of consumer confidence. Are we buying sneakers and clothing that tend to be a little bit more expensive? Well, in Nike's case, the answer is yes. The other thing that comes into play here, the S&P, U.S. stock market's about to enter the strongest quarter of the year historically, meaning we've gotten through 75% of the year. And when that's been positive, this last quarter, October, November, December, tend to be pretty good overall statistically. So the pattern of markets bodes well for the rest of this year. And there's an 83, according to the research I'm looking at here, 83.1% chance that this final quarter is positive, but it doesn't mean we won't see some volatility. It would be very normal to end the year higher, but to see maybe parts of October or November a little more volatile. Repositioning might be something we see, meaning some of these high-flying tech stocks, maybe some rotates back into some value stocks. But heading into where we are with the Fed starting to cut rates, and remember the Fed, they have a dual mandate, work to maintain inflation through monetary policy, but also full employment, boosting the labor market. It could be interesting to see what happens there if this shutdown leads to some of the data they need to make smart decisions being not produced or, in essence, withheld. So pretty interesting time right now. The shutdown made headlines. Market futures are down just a little, but market closed higher yesterday coming into what was expected to be a short-term showdown. And we'll see how long it lasts. We've got some pretty big egos trying to figure out some massive problems that need addressed. And the longer it goes, the less confident we'll be in our economy. But I think it'll last maybe a week, maybe 10 days. I hate to make that prediction, but I'm hoping it's no longer, because the longer it goes on, the more uncertainty there is, and markets don't like short-term uncertainty. But whenever we've had these shutdowns, markets tend to rebound pretty quickly from any kind of sell-off.
Speaking of uncertainty, how are tariffs right now affecting us in this country? And specifically, how are they affecting the hotel industries, the places where we take vacations, the restaurants? Are you getting any feel for that at all, Ryan, as you look at all the various data that's out there?
Yeah, I don't know about tariffs in relation to restaurants and hotels, but I am hearing from a couple of clients actually in that industry that they've had to raise food prices because of inflation, but also to pay higher wages to retain their workers. They're having a lot of trouble finding people who want to work even part-time in restaurants or in the hotel industry. And some of that may be the changes in the labor force. The other thing that's picking up a lot of steam in many industries, and I was thinking about this morning, is the impact of what we call artificial intelligence, or AI. And that is helping to replace some of these jobs we can't fill. And, there's simple examples like how we order sometimes at fast food now on a screen that picks it up and puts it together for us, or self-checkout at grocery stores. But labor costs have risen, but they're starting to flatten out a little bit, which is one thing the Fed the last couple of years has looked at. Labor inflation, meaning rising costs to hire and maintain workers. Well, that's kind of starting to flatten out a little bit right now.
You always have a tip for us every week, and I can't wait to hear it. So what's your tip this week for us, Ryan?
Yeah, first of all, ignore the news, really. I mean, if someone's thinking about making portfolio changes based on news, that's not a good idea.
Okay.
But, we're 75% of the year through 2025, which sounds really strange because, it feels like it was just Valentine's Day. So what should we be doing right now? Well, number one, we ought to look, have we contributed enough to meet our goal into our retirement plan at work? If we have a bonus coming up of some sort, can that go into our retirement plan to save a little taxes? Number two, are we preparing for Medicare open enrollment? That's coming up. Can be tricky, so we need to find a trusted resource there. And if people have questions, I do have a couple resources I can refer them to. Number three, hey, the Christmas season's right around the corner. We ought to start to think about our holiday spending plans and budgets so that we don't start 2026 with a big credit card bill. Number 4, flexible spending accounts. Spend it or lose it. If we have those through our employers, we ought to start to look to ways to use that money so it doesn't get wasted. And number 5, hey, a lot of people are kicking the tires on, can we retire in 2026 or maybe even 2027? Now's the time to start to see if we can live off our anticipated retirement income and cash flows versus after the fact. So to kind of the practice into retirement to see if we can do it, and if not, figure out a strategy to make it work. So just some quick tips as we wrap up today's segment.
And finally, with all those things in mind, and people are sitting there going, they're kind of at a dizzying speed saying, there's a lot of financial stuff out there right now that I don't understand. You're a guy that's a financial advisor. You're my financial advisor, which I tell people in openness and transparency. And you've been that for 10 years. And I just think you do a great job because you stay up to date on all the things that are happening. You keep us up to date with quarterly newsletters that come out. I get a call every now and then. How are things going? You and I talk. I just appreciate that kind of attitude. But one of the things I also appreciate is the way you conduct your business. It's a different way for me. Everybody doesn't do it that way, and it doesn't make anything wrong there. But for me, I like the idea that you're not really selling me a product, but what you're doing is you're looking out for me right now and for how I'm doing monetarily. Tell people a little bit about that way of doing business.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks, Gary. So Sean Houston and I are Houston Fox Financial Advisory Services. We are fee-only fiduciaries, and that means we are registered investment advisors full-time in our industry. We manage portfolios for clients and offer financial planning services for our clients. 398-2040 reaches us. And as fiduciaries, it means that not everybody who walks in our door needs to become a client. I had someone in yesterday. I told them they should not become a client right now because there were other things that I like for them better versus what I'm doing based on their needs and specific financial situation. It doesn't work for everyone that way. Sometimes it's a little different. But as fiduciaries, we are always obligated to put our clients' and potential clients' interests before our own. And the way that we do that as fiduciaries is we sign a contract, have our fee in writing. That is our only compensation. And the only way that rises over time is when portfolios grow. Our compensation grows alongside the assets of our clients. And if we have a down quarter, we're all in it together. So 398-2040 reaches me here at the office. I'm happy to answer any questions people might have, whether it's about finances, about markets, about anything related to those topics.
And you can go into their website also at HoustonFox.com. That's HUSTON Fox.com. Request a free consultation if you'd like. See the whole story about Houston Fox Financial Advisory Services, LLC. They are straight up. And I'll tell you what, when you call, you'll get Ryan's voice on there. Ryan answers his own phone, and I think that's one of the great things about it. But 717-398-2040 for Ryan Fox at Houston Fox Financial Advisory Services. And they are ready to help you right now navigate the financial shoals that are out there for us. Ryan, always good to have you in here on a Wednesday morning. Thank you so much, my friend, for some great information.
Hey, catch you next week. Thanks, Gary. I appreciate your time.
Wonderful week, Ryan. Take care. Ryan Fox here, HoustonFox.com. Check him out today. WOYK News Time, 8:18. And we're going to be checking in here with Steve Shetter of Test Pest, but also we got some other stuff coming up.
Revolution highlights next.
All right around the corner on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Pitch. He swings and drives one to deep left field. It is gone! J.D. goes yard, and the Revs have struck first here in Game 3. It is 1-0 here in the second inning. Swing and a high drive deep down the line in right field. Is it fair or foul? It's a fair ball. It's out of here. Shane Fontana, a tape measure 2-run home run. And that Revs dugout erupts. It is 3-0 York here in the fourth. 2-0. Swinging a bouncing ball to first base. Kyle Martin's got it, takes it to the bag, and Mike Kickham has worked 6 scoreless innings of 2-hit ball here in Game 3. It's a 1-2-3, bottom of the 6th. Swing and a line drive, right center field. It's a base hit, and it's going up the alley, all the way to the wall in right center. Williams around third. Relay for Birdie, slides in, and Jalen Miller provides the insurance. An RBI double to the gap in right center, and the Revs lead it 5-2 here in the 9th. Here's the wind. Here's the payoff. Strike 3 called. He got him looking. Fastball inside corner. Game over. 5 down, 1 to go. The Revs take Game 3 on the road here in High Point. It's a 5-2 win here tonight.
Well, you have to win 6 games to win the Atlantic League Championship, and the Revs are now within 1. And they could win it tonight. You'll hear it 6:40. Darryl on the air. 7 o'clock. The game starts tonight at High Point, North Carolina. Jalen Davis, another home run in the playoffs last night. And then a 2-run blast by Shane Fontana. Great pitching again by Mike Kickham, 6.1 innings, no runs given up there, and the Revs win it 5-2. And they are on the verge of winning back-to-back championships if they can win tonight. So again, another big game tonight, and we'll see how it all goes. But 6:40 is airtime. Tune in right here on WOYK. This is ground zero for playoff baseball for the Revs, and 6:40 is the opening words of Darryl and the opening pitch at 7 o'clock tonight as the Revs try to bring it on home again here for York. WOYK News Time is 8:24, and I bring in this morning my good friend Steve Shetter with TES Total Extermination Services, or Total Exterminating Services, trusted, local, family-owned. They serve York, Lancaster, and Hanover, and they are locally owned and operated, and Steve Shetter is the guy who's got it all going on. 50 years in this business. And Steve, good morning. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, good morning, Gary.
And I know you're a Revs fan. You're rooting for them tonight. You'll be tuned in, right?
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what, playing great baseball right now and trying to bring home a 2nd straight championship, a 5th for York here over all the years. You know how many championships they've lost those 5 times that they've gone in?
I'm going to say none.
You're correct. None. And we hope to keep that record clean tonight as they get ready to play High Point down in North Carolina tonight. But, it's all, we talk about seasons and, hope the Revs can end the baseball season as champions tonight. But we're getting into seasons right now where the pests are opening up their league season, right? And a lot of them are heading for the doors, your doors. And, I noticed this morning it's a little chillier. Hey, they want to be warm too, right? So what are we doing about that right now, Steve?
Yeah, so right now is this month is going to be prime time for all kinds of things wanting to come indoors, Gary. So one of the things I wanted to remind your listeners of, because we get this more often than we should, but with stinging insects, yellow jackets, hornets, all of that, right now they're pushing in for warmth, but people see the yellow jackets going in and out of an opening on their home, and one of the most common mistakes people make is they close that hole off, and then it really becomes a mess, because instead of having many bees on the outside of your house, then you close that opening off, and all of a sudden they've got hundreds of bees in their house. Yeah. And it becomes a mess. So my message to your listeners is, if you see those bees on the outside of the house, do not close that opening off.
Something else I wanted to ask you about too, Steve. A lot of people have grills outside and smokers and different things like that. they've been known to build nests and those kind of things, too. I found some inside my one grill the one time I opened up, and there was a nest right in there, and I had to knock that out and take care of it. So people need to be aware of that kind of stuff as well, right?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. In the grills, we've seen everything. We've seen mice. We've seen the stingy insects. You can get anything and everything building inside of there. And, it's quite a surprise when you open it up.
Steve, what makes TES kind of unique in the way you approach taking care of pests? What are the things you've been doing and the things you've learned over 50 years in this business?
Yeah, so, I've been in the business a long time, like you said, Gary, and I think our dedication to eliminating the issue is one of the things that sets us apart. Somebody takes us on, we're not going to come out once or twice and say, we're done with you, we can't help you, I'm sorry that you got your ants back like you've had in the past. Right. And we're going to stick with you until the problem is solved.
One of the great things you have, and I signed up for this quarterly kind of visit, and I am so happy that I signed up for that. First of all, I haven't seen any ants since you guys came out. So the word got around that Test Pest was on the case. But more importantly, the fact that you stop by quarterly in a very affordable kinds of programs. And I do mean very affordable. So if you're looking around for affordability, then you want to give Steve a call today at 717-951-3868. But, the quarterly visits to me are something really important.
Yeah, it's a great program. It's by far we by far have more customers on that than anything else. We can customize a plan, but that quarterly plan covers you for 30 to 35 different insects and rodents. It allows you to give us a call if you need us in between visits. It's a complete service, so that is definitely by far the one that we have the most customers on, Gary.
And free evaluations, that's something that people need to know about, too. They can give you a call, get a free evaluation to see, where they stand with the various kinds of pests that we get in our home, right?
Yeah, we're a little bit old school in that way. A lot of the larger companies want to just take care of your issue over the phone, but really I've always been a strong believer in that if we're going to take care of the issue properly, we've got to do an evaluation of it first.
And family values, that's what it's all about there. You also give 1% of net profits donated to local charities, which is also a little bit old school, but pretty good school from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Gary. Yeah, we try and be part of all the communities that we're in. York, Lancaster, Adams County. We really try and be involved in those counties to be part of the communities.
Ladies and gentlemen, affordable programs for your needs and getting rid of pests. We all get affected by them. They're coming indoors right now. Maybe a good time to give Steve a call at 717-951-3868. Total Exterminating Services. You can find them at testpest.com. You can give them a call today, 717-951-3868. Friendly people who are ready to help you right now. And I'll tell you what, whether it's residential or commercial, they're taking care of pest control in a big way here in the Lancaster, York, and Hanover area. Steve, thanks for all you're doing, man. Appreciate you sponsoring our hour here and appreciate you being my pest guy. I hope people will take me up on it. When I tell them I am totally satisfied, I hope they will be too.
Hey, I appreciate you very much, Gary.
Thanks, buddy. You have a great day, and always great having you on the show. And again, thanks for sponsoring this hour. This hour is sponsored by TestPest.com. Check them out today, 717-951-3868. My Pest Control people, make them yours today, and don't let those pests come in. They're not paying rent, okay? WOYK News Time is 8:30. When we come back, Julie Wheeler is the President Commissioner of the York County Commissioners. She'll join us with the latest on what's going on all around the county. She's got a lot of things she was doing this past week, and she'll break it all down for you right here on WOYK. It is 8:30.
Let's go surfing now. Everybody's learning how. Come on a safari with me. Come on a safari with me. Early in the morning we'll be starting out. Some honeys will be coming along. We're loading up our woody with our boards inside and heading out singing our song.
The Beach Boys, huh? Coming back here.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
It was 63 years ago today, on this date, 1962. Nobody knew anything about the Beach Boys.
No.
Today, of course, they're an institution, American iconic group. But back then, we had no idea the magic that they would create. And, for what it's worth, the Beatles' Abbey Road album, Come Together, Here Comes the Sun. I mean, they had already done great things, and then they come out with Abbey Road on top of it. So, also on this date at 68, I believe. So, some great music on this International Music Day.
There you go. International Music Day, as we are celebrating today. By the way, there are a couple, we talk about being the main street of York County, and one of the great names in York County is Jack Giambalvo Family of Dealerships. And, I say that because they seem like they've been around forever. When Jack Giambalvo started years and years and years ago, he got something special started because they have a certain way of doing business. They are a family, and they are a family that's been around here for a while. They have 6 great locations here in York County right now. And one of the great things about getting a car now is you don't have to buy it new. You can also get pre-owned. And they've got Giambalvo pre-owned inventory right now for you. And it's all over the place. There's 6 great locations for you to choose cars from. And they even have where those cars are located. If you go to giambalvo.com/used inventory, or go to the pre-owned inventory, and you will find all what you want to find with Giambalvo. Under 60,000 miles, 40,000 miles below, heated seats. Do you want to get an Explorer? Do you want to get an all-wheel drive? Do you want to get a gasoline car? Do you want to get 2025 or older? Four-wheel drive, F-150, Ford. They've got them all right now at GiambalvoPreowned.com. And you can go out there and find them right now. And, one of the great things about them, you get a free lifetime PA state inspection for you and anybody in your household. 3-month, 3,000-mile warranty included on most pre-owned vehicles. Their vehicles go through really rigorous inspection to ensure they're roadworthy, and 50-plus years of the Giambalvo name backing it up, establishing trust, quality cars, and reliable service. That's what Jack Giambalvo is all about. And the Giambalvo pre-owned difference included with your purchase at no extra cost. Okay? That's what they're all about. It's one of the reasons I bought my car back there in February, and I'm going to continue to buy my cars at Giambalvo Family of Dealerships. Maybe you should check them out, too, today. GiambalvoPreowned.com, or you can just go and stop on down there at any one of the 6 great locations here and find out what they have in stock. I'll tell you what, when it comes to quality cars, that goes synonymous with Jack Giambalvo Family of Dealerships. Check them out today and tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. WOYK News Time is 8:37, not 6:37. Mark almost fainted. 8:37. But we've got with us this morning Julie Wheeler, the President Commissioner of the York County Commissioners. And the very first thing I have to do is I have to congratulate her on stopping down the other day at Augie's Joint. And she got her first Augie Doggy, and she sent me visual proof of it to make sure that I saw that. And because I even said, have you stopped down yet? I said, did you check your email lately, or did you check your text lately? Because I sent you a picture, and she did. Good morning, Julie. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So how was the Augie's Doggy? Was it a heavenly experience, as I told you it might be?
It was a heavenly experience, and I'm going to go back and try some other iterations of their dog. So they're very good and very nice people, very friendly, very courteous. Yeah.
Aren't they lovely? And and thank you for sending me the pictorial truth, because I really appreciated that. Anyway, great to have you in this morning. Lots to talk about. I mean, you've been busy lately, and a 60th anniversary today of the CPC, the Community Progress Council. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, before I do that, I will confirm Jack Giambalvo celebrated their 50th anniversary in 2024.
Okay.
And just one little fact, Jack started with 13 employees, and today they have over 275 employees.
Wow.
So great for the economic growth in our community. And as you probably know, the Giambalvo family has been very philanthropic with our community.
Yeah, the one great thing about the Giambalvo family is, and I'm actually playing golf today with John Giambalvo, but just they really believe in giving back to the community. You hear that so often about giving back, but they really do give back to the community in so many ways. And it's just very impressive. And a great family, the family of dealerships started by Jack and now carried on by John and his family. And I'll tell you what, just a wonderful, wonderful group. So Thank you for making the mention of that.
You bet.
So
back Community Progress Council, yes. Last week they celebrated 60 years. And I don't know how many of your listeners are familiar with the Community Progress Council, but it is a great organization in our community. And part of what they do is provide hope for countless individuals and families in time of need.
Right.
It's not a handout, it's a hand up, really working with individuals to get them out of poverty and onto a path of self-sufficiency. And I heard several women speak last week, and when you hear these young women and older women tell their story about how they were in poverty, single moms, lose their job, and how the Community Progress Council has helped get them on a path, it's really encouraging. So I just, they've done a lot of good work there, Robin Morbaugh and her team.
You also have the Millbourne groundbreaking and Creative York. It's got some stuff going on. Tell people about that.
Yeah, lots of stuff. So Millbourne, for your listeners, Millbourne Gardens, that is on the former Appel estate. And for those of you, your listeners probably know that Louis and Jody had a huge passion for horticulture. And spent over 40 years creating garden settings there at Millbourne. And so part of their legacy that they wanted to leave was to open that up to our community. And so we had a groundbreaking last week on what will be the future enhancements to the Millbourne Gardens, slated to open sometime in 2027. So really looking forward to having that in our community and promoting horticulture and, preserving a part of our legacy here with the Appel family.
And am I remembering correctly, 50 acres, and they want to kind of turn that into kind of like a Longwood Gardens, which is down here just across the border in Delaware, which is a beautiful place. And if you've ever been out in the Appel Estates, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous place and will be a neat place for people to go in our community.
It will. You're exactly right. They do kind of want to mimic Longwood Gardens. There'll be a welcome center, and I'm 99% sure the home will be used to host events. So it looks to be a really spectacular thing for York County to have, and for our local residents to enjoy, but hopefully residents from outside of York County to drive some tourism here in our community.
Be a lot of fun there. Creative York, Artworks program with juvenile probation. Tell me about that.
How about that? So Creative York, every year their annual fundraiser is called Art in Residence, and this year they asked me to come speak. And so I talked about some of the programs that they've done, but one that I really would like to share today is a program called Artworks. And it's near and dear to my heart because it's a collaboration between Creative York and York County government, specifically the York County Juvenile Probation Department. So the probation department and Artworks program, they engage our young people who are in the juvenile probation system to use the arts and creative expression to help them learn important life skills, goal setting, problem solving, decision making, self-critiquing, and it really gives these kiddos the tools they need to express themselves in a positive way while allowing them also to complete their community service hours. So I just think it's a wonderful program that I don't think many people know about in our community. So thank you for giving me a chance to highlight it.
And Julie, I know we can't go through a day without hearing about AI anymore, artificial intelligence and technology and all the things that are going on. But sometimes we neglect the fact that there are women in technology that are doing some great things. We hear about all the guys out there. What about the women? You attended a women's technology event last week.
I did. It was spectacular. And you probably know I'm a STEM graduate, so technology's always been near and dear to my heart. And this was hosted by the Central Pennsylvania Technology Innovation Council. I think that's the correct name, close to it. But this was their 9th annual event. First time I went, first time I heard about it, and it recognized both young women starting out their careers, but women who've had a career in the technology sector, highlighting their achievements. So it was great to see some young women get highlighted for some of the innovative things they're doing, but also recognize those women who have been, out carrying the technology flag for decades.
And finally, October, we start that today. There's a lot of things to look forward to in October, and especially here in York County. I know the Halloween parade coming up here, and the Revs are involved in that. And obviously the Revs trying to win a championship again tonight, but it's also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And, I know we had the shootings the other week that kind of had to do with one of those kind of situations, potentially. So it's probably uppermost in our minds right now. Talk about that just for a moment.
Yeah, so today at the Commissioners meeting, we're going to recognize October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And, it's a topic I think that's more common, easily to talk about versus some of the other topics that you and I have talked about, right? Suicide and mental health. But unfortunately, across the nation, we still have domestic violence that exists. And when we look at the data across the county, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men in the United States experience some form of physical violence by an intimate partner. So those are pretty staggering statistics. So it's really important that we continue to draw attention to this, but also ensure that we are educating folks on where they can go get support. And as you probably know, both of our Ys here in York County, the YWCA of York and the YWCA Hanover, have wonderful programs to help individuals who are experiencing domestic violence.
Well, I mean, that is a serious subject, and so many things that a lot of us don't understand about that, and yet we want to be on guard to help our neighbors here in the community where that does happen. And, that's something we take very seriously. So a lot of information will be out here during this month about domestic violence. Read up on it. Watch some of the things that are going to be happening in terms of commercials and some of the programs that are out there for people. But most importantly, check on our neighbors and make sure they're okay. Julie, always good having you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time today, and a plethora of subjects that we go through this morning. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and enjoy the golfing with John.
We will look forward to doing that, and we'll look forward to talking to you again next week. Okay?
Sounds great. Take care.
Julie Wheeler, our President Commissioner of the York County Commissioners, right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. And what do we have coming back here, Mark?
Well, we have, again, it might seem like, it's always been here. It's always been around. Well, there was a time when it was brand new, and we will step back in time.
And I want to remind you that coming up this afternoon at 4 p.m., they have a sale out at Thomasville Country Auction. Jack and Cheryl Hooks are a full-time husband and wife auction team, and they've been in the antique business since 1970 and the auctioneer business since 1976. And one of the things that I don't get to tell you often enough is they are so dedicated to this business. They follow up on all potential clients personally themselves. I mean, when you're talking to Jack and Cheryl Hooks, you're talking to Thomasville Country Auction. They don't send a middleman out. They don't explain their business with somebody else, how they operate. They tell you themselves. And that's one of the things that caught me right away when I met them. Just that kind of person, that kind of people that you're going to meet, that you can talk York County-ese with. They tell you about the job they can do. They can haul the items to your house, their auction house. They tell you how much it's going to cost. They tell you about doing sales. They talk realistically. They tell you what to expect, what not to expect. They tell you about how to get it done, and whether it's going to be one sale or 4 sales, as it was in my case, they will make sure that you understand what's going on. And, they don't rush through your merchandise. They treat it, every piece, like an antique. They treat it like it has value because it does to them. And that's what makes them so special. And they also can sell real estate. Cheryl does that personally and helps you to understand all those various things and how it's going to go down. And then they do right by you. They save you a lot of money and time. They come out and completely remove all sellable items from your home, which, again, Jack and Cheryl personally do. This is the reason why you should call this group Thomasville Country Auction, because they take care of you personally. Are you ready to have them help you? Give them a call today at 717-764-5403. That's 717-764-5403. Their staff is ready to help you. They're ready to help you personally, each and every time you have a sale, whether you're moving or you're downsizing, whether you have an estate to settle. Jack and Cheryl hooks are the name of the game. It's Thomasville Country Auction, Route 30 West at the railroad tracks. Today, a sale at 4 p.m. in Thomasville.
The music behind the commercial, which was showing us all the excitement and fun of a new world destination.
Disney World.
Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
It was on this date, 1971. So that would make it the 54th anniversary today.
Yeah.
It opened in 1971.
I'm heading down that way in November for a week and going to be in Orlando. So I don't know if we're going to stop at Disney World or not one day, but we might. I've been there before, and it's an interesting place, really fun. And, you know, except for that one place with the gators, the Floridian, the gators
Alligator,
come up in the
Alcatraz.
pool. Yeah, you don't want that.
No.
No, we don't need gators. Not welcome.
No.
Not welcome there at Disney World. By the way, this hour being brought to you by Test Pest. Total Exterminating Services. Stephen Cheddar, 50 years of experience, 717-951-3868. You can email him at stephen.cheddar@testpest.com. They are serving York and Lancaster and Hanover areas and residential and commercial pest control. They have affordable programs designed for you and your needs. Test Pest. Check them out at testpest.com or call them at 717-951-3868 and tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. They are my pest control people. And I'll tell you what, no ant has shown its ugly face since they came out to my home. So, and if you've heard me talk before, I'm a little bit of a fanatic about keeping those kind of things out. By the way, we start October. The MLB wildcard games continue this week with Game 1 of the World Series set for the 24th of October. Also, the NHL season gets started next Tuesday, and the new NBA season tips off October 21st and will probably last until next October 21st. In movies, excuse me, The Rock, who hasn't been out in a movie for about 5 minutes, his new MMA flick, The Smashing Machine, opens this Friday. Daniel Day-Lewis returns to the screen for the first time in 7 years with, is it Anemone? Is that the way you say it? Anemone?
I'm not sure.
In the same day, Anemone is the way you say it. Anemone, Anemone.
What's it about?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But if Daniel Day-Lewis is in, it's worth taking a look at.
That's true.
Tron Ares hits theaters on the 10th. No. Guillermo del Toro's new Frankenstein. Do we need another one of those movie?
Yeah, but he's a real creative horror guy.
He is an interesting guy, Guillermo del Toro. Frankenstein movie opens in a limited release on the 17th before hitting Netflix next month. And Jeremy Allen White from The Bear, one of your shows you like, stars in Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere.
Yes, Deliver Me From Nowhere.
On the 24th. On TV, Abbott Elementary returns tonight. SNL returns for its 51st season this coming Saturday. Grey's Anatomy is back on the 9th. 911 Nashville premieres the same night. Elsbeth, I watched that show a little bit, returns on the 12th. And Tim Robinson's new show, The Chair Company, hits HBO Max the same day. I have not watched that at all. NCIS returns the 14th. 911 is back on the 16th. Tracker returns the 19th. And the season 4 of The Witcher hits Netflix October 30th. I watched a little of that. It has yet to catch with me, but I'm going to keep trying.
Yes.
And finally, the holidays this month. The big ones are Yom Kippur, which starts tonight, Columbus Day, and Indigenous Peoples Day on the 13th. Ladies and gentlemen, is Columbus Day. Okay? We honor Indigenous peoples, the natives of this country, but it is Columbus Day first and foremost. I'm sorry. And Halloween on the 31st of this month, that people are starting to get all their stuff out for right now and have been for the last month and a half. And lesser-known holidays this month include International Beer and Pizza Day on the 9th, although every Sunday that's practiced here in our country.
True.
National No Bra Day on the 13th. I'll let you deal with that. And National Cat Day on the 29th, which we're already starting to celebrate at our house every single day because they think every day is theirs.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that's it. So all of that's what's coming up here in October, Mark.
All right. So let's delve into this. The most abused Social Security number ever has been used in fraud by at least 40,000 different people.
Wow.
And you might say, well, what makes it so special?
What makes it so special? Mark?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It belonged to a secretary who worked at a wallet company. Does it anything triggering?
No.
In 1938, I'll explain. In 1938, Social Security cards were brand new.
Right.
And the secretary's boss wanted people to see how the new cards would look in a wallet.
Okay.
So every one of their wallets, every one, came with a sample Social Security card inside.
Oh, my.
But here's the thing.
They have one number.
Yes. Whose number was it?
I don't know.
It was hers.
Oh, my.
That's
Oh, no.
So 40,000 of those people who bought a wallet said, hey, well, maybe I'll give this a shot.
By the way, also, and I know you were doing something with this morning. We're kind of toward the end now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Babe Ruth called his shot on this date.
On this date, yeah.
Yeah, 1932 with a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Babe Ruth pointed to the center field bleachers at Wrigley. He was getting razzed, and he didn't like the 2 strikes that had been called. And on the next pitch, he hit a home run over the very bleachers to put the Yankees ahead of the Cubs in Game 3 of the World Series. He actually pointed out there. And a lot of people were saying he didn't really call a shot, but, you know, the lore says that he did. And there you go. Anyway, coming up tomorrow here on the Gary Sutton Show, Jamie Norpel becomes our first female guest host ever. And she's going to be in here tomorrow after what? Almost 6,700 shows.
A lot.
Our first female host tomorrow, working with Mark McKenzie, will be in for me as I'm taking a day off. I'll be back on Friday. But Jamie, of course, the head of the York County Safety Collab, she's a history person. She has a doctorate, and she's way smarter than I am. We'll be here tomorrow doing the show. And so we're looking forward to having her in tomorrow. Mark, of course, is going to give her a hand. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be an interesting show. She'll do all the things we normally do. And we're looking forward to having her in here tomorrow to sit in for me. And hope you'll enjoy it. In the meantime, have a great day, everyone. Don't forget the Revs tonight, 6:40. Daryl's on, 7 o'clock first pitch. Go Revs, let's win it all. Here on WOYK, it's 9 o'clock.